This incredible guest on my show is this incredible actress known by the name of Lindsey Bean. She has been in this incredible fan film called Powerpuff Girls. Her husband directed this incredible fan film called Powerpuff Girls. This incredible fan film, and Lindsey actually starred as Blossom in the Powerpuff Girls fan film. So I'm about to give Lindsey an ad into the live stream now and have a chat with Lindsey. So, what I'm going to get you to do, Lindsey, to people that don't know who you are, I'm going to actually get you to introduce yourself and explain a bit about what you do as a person, and then I'll dive right into the questions.
Okay, so I'm Lindsay, and I've been acting for about a little over 4 years now. So, but obviously with COVID and quarantine, everything's kind of on hold right now.
Awesome. So onto the questions now. With my very first question. So your husband directed this incredible Powerpuff Girls fan film. What was it like with your husband getting to direct this incredible fan film of Powerpuff Girls?
Well, it was really fun. He's right here. Sorry, he's out of out of the
Hi.
frame.
Hello.
Hey, I'm Chris. I'm the director.
Pleased to meet you, Chris.
It was fun. Believe it or not, I actually had a really hard time filming the alley sequence because it was midday and we were filming in between buses going by, so it was really loud. So after like 30 seconds, another bus would drive by and like I'd have to cut and I'd just be like cursing and screaming like, when will rush hour end?
Awesome. So on to my very next question, Chris. So how did you come up with the idea of wanting to create this Powerpuff Girls fan film?
Um, well, I had recently met a very beautiful redhead, and I said, "What are some things that I could put her in?" And I just ran down the list of superheroes with red hair, and Blossom. That's literally it.
Awesome. So with my very next question, Chris. So what was the experience like with creating this whole incredible Powerpuff Girls fan film? What influenced you to actually say, "Hey, I want to create this Powerpuff Girl fan film"? What to getting people invested into this?
Well, I wanted to do something that was mature, but I also wanted to, respect the source material. I grew up watching the Powerpuff Girls. I wasn't too much of a fan of the 2016 reboot, so I had motivation there to kind of go, okay, let's try and harken back to the original series, and let's do something a little bit special. Let's subvert it. So I figured, okay, well, how can I do a mature Powerpuff Girls movie, but at the same time have it be as cartoonish and childlike as the show? And I remember when I saw the movie, the original 2002 feature film, how they dealt with some more mature themes and whatnot. And I go, okay, what if I just break the fourth wall entirely and, you know, I added in that whole bit about them actually just being part of an imagination, because that's essentially, the best way to interpret the Powerpuff Girls is that they're for children. So why not just, and also I have so many people complain being like, they have fingers. How can they have fingers? And I'm like, well, because it's a kid's imagination. So there, deal with it.
So this is a question for Lindsey now. So what was it like portraying the role of Blossom in this incredible Powerpuff Girls fan film?
It was really fun because I've always I remember when I was watching the Powerpuff Girls when I was really young, and I really liked Blossom because she had the big bow, and then we had to spend like 20 minutes getting the big bow to stay on my head because it would keep like falling off or falling to the side.
Yeah. I actually had to put wire in the bow to make it stay up the way that it did. And no, I had gotten ribbon that had wiring in it so you can actually sculpt it. So we were able to make the bow stand up
Anti-gravity.
and have anti-gravity bow and have the back of it kind of twirl out like Sailor Moon hair and everything.
Awesome. So on to my very next question. What was your favorite memorable moment about creating this incredible Powerpuff Girls fan film? And what was your favorite moment about playing the role of Blossom, Lindsay?
That's a hard question. Let's see. So this is, well, it was really exciting for me because this was my second acting gig like ever. So, and it was the first thing that was ever actually published, because the first thing I did, I never got any word about what happened to it. But this was the first thing I did that got on YouTube, and I got to send it to my parents and my grandparents, you know, all the relatives, and everyone was like, oh, she's actually, you know, doing what I said I wanted to do as an actor. And it was really cool because it got so much traction, and so many people were saying how this really meant a lot to them and the sweet message. And I was like, oh, like we can actually, like, you know, make people feel good by just putting together a little 5-minute short on the internet.
Awesome. So on to my very next question. If you could actually choose any like actor to portray the role of Blossom in like a movie, who would you actually pick and why to play the role of Blossom?
I'm trying to think, like, I'm trying to narrow down all the actors that are out there right now, because there's so many talented actors and actresses and everything. So
And they should have red hair.
well, I'm trying to think of all the redheads. I forget her name, but the girl from Riverdale, the redhead on Riverdale. Someone's gonna get mad at me because I can't remember.
Cheryl?
Yeah, the one. I think that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. So on to my very next question. What was it like working with the other girls on the Powerpuff Girls fan film?
It was really cool. That was the first time that I met them, was that day. We all went to Chris's house and we got dressed, got ready, we took some photos, and then we all got in our separate cars and drove all the way up to LA because he was in Anaheim at the time. It's like,
Actually,
hour,
I
hour
want
and
to
a half.
point out, she wasn't there for when we were doing the photos for the posters.
Oh,
You were working that day.
oh yeah.
So I actually went ahead and did, for the poster, I had done posters for the other two, Bubbles and Buttercup. And then I had Lindsay come in and I inserted her Blossom, because same lighting. I photoshopped them in. So they actually were not all together for the poster, but they all met on the way up to start filming.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was cool. I got to meet them, and the girl who was Buttercup, she could do a lot of cool voices. So it was really interesting hearing all the girls. I'm like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. And then we start filming, and all their voices change to fit with the character. So that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, you had the easier job.
I had the easiest voice
because
to
the
do.
Blossom voice is not as distinct, I would say, as Buttercup or Bubbles.
Yeah.
Especially being, you know, like Bubbles being so high or Buttercup being
I
so
got the
raspy.
easiest job.
You did. All you had to do was and you already have the cadence that Kathy Cavadini, I'm gonna butcher her name, Kathy has, and so it was a lot easier.
Awesome. So on to my very next question. So you were actually in this incredible, like other fan film called Night. Hopefully I pronounced this right. Nightlark. Back in 2000.
Nightlark is original, and it's not a fan film. That's my character.
Mm-hmm. Nice. So onto that. What was it like creating Nightlark?
Ooh.
Well, unfortunately, we never got to actually release Nightlark. We only did. We only got to do the trailer.
We have like bits. We have like 2/3 of episode 1, and we filmed them all out of order.
There were 3 episodes that I was doing, and we have about 75% of each episode, give or take. And scheduling just eventually got in the way, and I had to move at the time, so I never got to really complete it. But it was a real challenge, especially being in the suit of armor that she was wearing, because, you know, we're filming in like August.
Well, also, we had the helmet. Well, first of all, it was really cool getting to be like an original superhero. I felt like, you know, like I'm part of Marvel or DC or something. But we had to make the whole costume. So the headpiece, we had, what was it, like
we used plaster bandages.
So it came off of my head, but then when it dried, it shrunk. So to get it on for filming for long hours, he had shove my head in, and then it would press on the sides of my head. So I'd be here trying to memorize my blocking, my lines, how I'm supposed to say everything, and I just like am
And she's
losing
got her
sight.
head just getting squished the whole
Just getting
time.
squished. So that
Well,
was
can I
fun.
just say, the trailer to Nightlark was fantastic. I wish, man, if it had have got like episodes, it would have been incredible
It
to
would
see.
have been,
Hopefully we can remake it soon.
yeah, I would like to remake it with an actual budget and give her a better suit of armor, because we were really just dealing with a lot of leather and pleather and
In August.
in August, and that's not flattering when you're sweating and
Yeah.
hot and everything. You want it to be a cool time. But yeah, I mean, and especially since I've grown as a filmmaker, I would like to definitely attack it now with more skill.
Awesome.
And she's grown as an actress too.
Oh, thank you.
Oh
There you go.
yeah, Lindsay, you are such an incredible, talented actress, and I've seen like other projects that you've been in. So on to my next question. With Rogue Redemption back in 2019, what was it like playing Jean Grey in Rogue Redemption?
That was her second time actually doing it.
Oh yeah, because we did.
Long
I'm
live
glad you
Logan.
found that one because a lot of the Marvel characters, if we do fan films, YouTube is really strict with their copyright. So even though it's not anything owned by them, they'll still copyright it. So we have to put them on like different websites and everywhere. So it's really cool that you found that one because normally we have to link to it. But it was really cool being Jean Grey because I've always really liked that character and thought she was like the most powerful out of all the X-Men, really. If you read the comics and stuff, she's a badass. So I was really excited to play her. Obviously, how we pick things is he'll just Google redheaded character.
I mean, I already
And
know
we'll
a lot
go
of them
through.
anyway, but
Pick them out.
one of the things I wanted to make sure when we were doing Jean Grey was that she was portrayed better than she's ever been. Like even as far back as the cartoon, she was always the one holding out her hand, doing this, and then passing out because the power was just too great. In the movies, she was passing out because the power was just too great, and I don't like that. Or that she was out of control and couldn't control herself, and the power was just too great. I wanted to actually do a Jean Grey that was in control of her powers, knew exactly how to handle them, and at no point was she ever worried that she was going to go out of control. I wanted her to be the emotional rock of the team for once. So that was nice.
Make her cool.
So onto my very next question. You actually appeared in Wonder Woman Jacqueline back in 2017. What was that experience like for you?
That was a really interesting project to work on because it's pretty serious. Like it deals with some serious stuff. And normally, I had been doing so many lighthearted shorts and stuff, and we kind of wanted to get and do some superhero videos that would kind of bring in the views because people would be searching, oh, Wonder Woman, and click on it. And then it got, more serious. You're like, oh, and it has a message. So that was really interesting. And the whole thing was a monologue. So we had to film first me doing the monologue, and it took so many tries because you get 2 lines down and then you forget the whole rest of it, or you get all the way to the bottom of the page and then you forget the last sentence and you got to start all over again. But it was really cool to kind of get in that headspace and try to emote as the character, as someone who was struggling, and then Wonder Woman came and gave her the independence and the self-esteem to change her life and better herself.
Yeah.
If I explained that well.
That was pretty much it.
That was, yeah. So on to my very next question. You were actually in a Spider-Man fan film called Spider-Man and the Ballad of Mary Jane. What was it like playing the role of Mary Jane in that incredible fan film?
Aren't you going to ask me how I chose that character?
Yeah, how did you choose that character, Chris?
Well, I had just decided what redhead she's redheaded.
Well, to answer your question, that was really fun because I got to, one, be a lead. And like Mary Jane, I remember watching, the first 3 Spider-Man movies, the Tobey Maguire ones. And Mary Jane was like, she wasn't as cool as she could be. You know, she was just kind of dull and kind of just there as the girlfriend.
Well, she was the plot device. She was the damsel in distress for
Yeah.
like 2 out of 3 movies, if not all 3.
So I thought it was really cool that in our fan film, even though spoilers, Mary Jane gets kidnapped, she doesn't just sit there and wait for Spider-Man to show up. She fights back and she's like, I'm gonna get the hell out of here. And she, you know, starts attacking him, running, and isn't just like, okay, I'll just wait for Spider-Man to show up. It's cool.
Yeah, that was definitely something I wanted to make sure I showed, was that she was not just another damsel in distress. She wasn't just a plot device. That once she was able to physically escape, she took that opportunity and she fought back. And she actually, like, if you see in the movie, a spoiler, she's beating the crap out of the guy. I'm not going to say who the guy is, but she's like kicking him in the face and running towards the door. She's doing everything, if you were in a horror movie, that you should do.
We like kick-ass women around here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, female empowerment.
Yes.
Onto the female empowerment sides of things, because that actually hit my head for a minute. So onto the female empowerment, what do you think with this whole female side of things these days? How do you think females are being represented in like films these days?
I think it's really cool that we're getting a lot more female-led movies, and some of them, I will say that personally, a few movies might feel like forced feminism, pandering, like the Ghostbusters film, the whole women can be funny thing that wasn't really needed.
For every good movie you have a ton
Can
of
I
bad
speak
ones.
on the female empowerment thing, Chris?
I just wanted to say that.
If you would let me. But yeah, so I really do like that there's a lot more women writing in Hollywood. I mean, one of my favorite shows right now is What We Do in the Shadows, and one of the writers on there that's written the funniest episode, of my opinion, is a woman. I'm like, awesome, because, you know, when you watch stuff, you wouldn't know who's behind the camera, and then you look at the credits, you're like, nice. Like I watched, what was it? American Psycho was
Directed by
a woman.
and written by a woman.
By a woman, and I didn't know that going in, and I saw, I was like, awesome. So I'm really excited that Hollywood is lately really trying to have women's voices heard and have more empowering characters. Like I said, I mean, if you look at just like we were watching Fifth Element, and it's funny because I hadn't seen it, and I was watching, I was like, I don't know, like I feel like Lilu as a character doesn't really have an identity other than she's there. And he's like, oh, well, you know, this is an older movie, and every time I watch an older movie from like, you know, 20, 30 years ago, I remember that I'm used to more female empowerment, full characters that have identities and purposes other than just being the girl. So it's interesting to see how far we've come, and I just can't wait to see how further we get over the years.
As I said before, for every really good female empowerment movie, there's like a dozen mediocre ones or forced ones. And that just comes with the territory, and I just hope that people are better at sifting through the movies before they get made rather than after they get made. I don't want there to be like an oversaturation. Like, for example, with just superhero movies in general, there used to be no superhero movies, and now there is a superhero movie.
There's so many.
Every other, week, and that's amazing, but there's a lot of bad ones too. So I just hope that, quality stays
Over quantity.
over quantity, yeah.
Quality over quantity.
Awesome. So on to my very next question. What was it like filming in the Huntress film?
Ooh, yeah.
Well, that was a trailer in a comic book.
Well, yes.
You were in Firstborn. Huntress is a short film, but she wasn't in Huntress. She was the Huntress.
Mm-hmm.
He made it very confusing because what happened is we have different properties, and some of them are on track to get filmed, and then either budgeting falls through or scheduling or COVID or whatever. So then we're like, okay, how can we do this safely? So with the Huntress character that I was, we originally were going to do a movie, and then we didn't have time, fell through.
Well, it was a feature film.
Yeah, a feature film. And then we're like, oh, well, let's get a few friends together, and we made it into a photography book. So it's set up like a comic book, but with photography. So that's really cool. It's on Amazon. But if you look at it, it's like you're watching a movie, but in comic book form. So that's really cool.
Yeah, just
And the
comic with
character,
pictures, basically.
yeah, the character was really fun because it's like a female Terminator before they did the new Terminator movie. So we did it first.
No, we didn't actually. Terminator 3 had a female Terminator.
And then you lied to me.
I
We
didn't.
did it second.
Yeah.
Second.
So onto my very next question, guys. So who inspired you? So this is for Lindsay. Who inspired you into acting? And for Chris, who inspired you to get into directing?
Okay, I'll go. Do you want me to go first?
If you have an answer.
Okay, so it's not very inspirational, but my story for why I wanted to act was when I was little, I always wanted to perform and everything. And I was like, oh, can I go be on Disney Channel? And my mom's like, not till you're 18. And then like a week after my 18th birthday, I was sitting in bed and I was on YouTube, and I got to like the end of YouTube where it was talking about how to get agents. I don't know how I got there. And I was like, wait a second. I'm 18. I live 2 hours away from LA. I have a car. Oh yeah, I can do this. I was like, I might as well try. So I set up, I went on casting websites. I got headshots. I would drive three hours to get there early. I would go to auditions. And after like a couple months, I was like, oh, I guess I'm a professional actress now. So it was kind of on a, no one can stop me, so might as well try and see what happens. On a whim, yes.
On a whim. For me, I got into writing when I was a teenager, but prior to that, I was an artist. Started drawing at the age of 5. And I think it took from the age of 5 till about the age 16 to realize that I wanted to become a filmmaker, because I would draw and try and tell stories in comic book form. And I realized that, yeah, I'm an okay artist, but I don't have the patience to sit down and draw. And as I tried to do animation, I realized I do not have the patience to draw that many pieces over and over again to get, 2 seconds worth of animation. There has to be a better way. Oh, that's right. I could be a director and just tell people what to do, and they'll do it. So I just got into filmmaking that way, and I decided I wanted to be a filmmaker at 16, and I officially became a filmmaker at 21.
Awesome.
Took some time. I didn't have a camera growing up.
So on to my very next question. So what have you learned about yourselves as a person during COVID this year?
Patience.
I have learned that apparently I'm very annoying to be around for long periods of time. But I mean, it has been nice. Luckily, we're in a position where we don't have to go outside, and normally we don't go outside anyways. We're homebodies, so we're kind of comfortable being at home anyways. But of course, being told I'm not allowed outside makes me want to go outside, even though I would have wanted to anyways.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've learned that we are very blessed because, like I said, we're in a situation where we can take time off of work and we can stay home. We don't have any underlying medical conditions that put us at higher risk. And now with social media, we can really stay in touch with everybody. I mean, I email my grandparents every other day and be like, make sure you're inside, right? Like, you're not going outside. So, I mean, that's really nice.
I learned I could write a feature script in 8 hours.
Brag much?
That's cool.
Yeah, I was pretty proud of that.
Heck yeah.
I'm trying to be insightful.
So on to my very next question. So if you could appear in any TV or movie franchise, Lindsay, what TV or movie franchise would it be and why?
All of them. No, I'm kidding. I would love to be in like any Marvel thing or superhero
You don't want to be in What We
things.
Do in the Shadows?
Oh yes, I would love to be in What We Do in the Shadows. If they want to bring me in as a vampire, ooh, I would love that. There's just so many good shows out there. Like, I have to try to keep up with all the streaming sites and all the channels, but there's so many good shows out there right now. I mean, one of my dreams is to be on SNL at some point in my life. So I have plenty of time for that because I hope, knock on wood, live a long time. But I don't know. I can't really nail it down because there's just so many good shows out there.
Yeah.
So on to my very next question. So, what are the positives and negatives into acting and directing, and how do you guys get through those negatives as a person?
I'll say one of the biggest negatives is if you're gonna put yourself in any type of the entertainment industry, your self-esteem, unless you're like a super, super narcissistic person, your self-esteem is gonna get hit a lot. I remember I had an agent for like a whole summer, and I would get maybe one audition a month, and it would just be, you know, you walk in, they literally look at you, and they're like, "Okay, see ya," and you don't hear anything, and you're like, okay, well, what did I do wrong? And you start over analyzing yourself instead of thinking, well, you probably just weren't a good fit. It had like, it could have nothing to do with you. You could walk in and be half an inch too tall, and they're like, okay, well, that's not what we're thinking of. Or someone could be having a bad day. Like, there's so many different factors. As long as you know that you went in, you did the best job you could, then you just have to accept that and try not to let the it get to you, because it can. There's been times when I've wanted to not go on auditions or go out and do other projects than Chris's, because I'm so comfortable with him as a director, and I get kind of nervous working with new people because I don't know how they're gonna act. Like, I know what he wants on film because I'm in his head, so I'll be like, okay, if I do a take this way, he knows that's what he wants going in, or we can rehearse prior, versus going to an audition and you know, they give you just half of a page, not even the full page, and you have to decipher, well, is this person talking straight, is this person talking sarcastically, and not knowing and going in and thinking you did it right, and oh, maybe you did it completely wrong, and you just start spiraling. So it's really hard to stay out of that mindset. But I think if you just keep pushing and, you know, believe in yourself, not to be cliche, but you kind of have to be your own cheerleader if you don't have someone to do it for you.
Yeah. Some of the biggest negatives in filmmaking just come down to budgetary constraints for me. You know, I have a lot of ideas and I have to find ways to execute them. And one of the hardest things is when I realized this. I was writing a script, a feature script, where, you know, I can do whatever I want. It's a feature script. And I am so used to having to uh, keep the story limited for budgetary constraints because, oh, if I do this, I can't afford to make it. So I'm writing this feature script. I'm like, oh crap, I'm totally like, it's not that as good as it can be because I'm writing for no budget, and now I have to expand my mind and I got to put myself in that mindset. And that actually felt stifling because I have been forced to constantly have to shoot stuff for no budget.
But
And
it
that,
looks good, even though there's
yeah,
no budget.
yeah,
It looks really good.
and it looks great. And that's the other part of it too, is when you're doing low to no budget, and you have an idea, and it's almost within reach. And like, damn it, how can I make that happen for no money? So it's constantly having to, you know, go back and forth rather than just being able to do whatever you want without any of the consequences.
So, on to my very next question. With my very last question. So, what new projects do you have installed after COVID, if you would like to announce on the show?
Um, well, I'm trying to think. I have you like, if I go back on my Instagram, there's so many posters I had for things that, you know, due to COVID aren't happening anymore. So right now we're limited, like, well, I'm limited to, we're doing photo comic books.
We just done a photo comic book.
Yeah,
You were in it.
oh yeah, I just did one. It's in, if you go to the link in my bio, there's all my stuff that I've done. I have links for everything. So
It's called JJ Flask, Detective
yes.
JJ Flask.
Yes, I was
Private Eye.
it's a, I won't
Sorry,
spoil
JJ
it.
Flask Private Eye. I don't even know it.
But it's a detective noir, and it's in a photo book format, and it's black and white, and it looks really good, and it's almost like 90% Photoshop, like the sets, because we just did it with our in our garage with the backdrop. And then lately I've been trying to focus more on music, so we're gonna try to shoot in the next few weeks like
A music video.
music video for my first music video, so that's gonna be kind of nerve-wracking, but hopefully it'll look good, so fingers crossed.
I just released a Tick fan film. If you're a fan of the Tick, that's up. And tonight, we're going to actually start working on part 2.
That's cool. Well,
Yeah.
can I just say thank you so much, Chris and Lindsay, for appearing on my show. It means so much. Everyone, definitely go support Chris and Lindsay. Any last final thoughts or anything that you would like to say to people?
Oh, well, just first of all, thank you so much for reaching out and having us because we have just been watching the news 24/7 for the past week. So it's been really nice to have a distraction, even if it's only for a little amount of time. I mean, you can see it behind us.
Oh yeah.
We have been up. We get like 2 hours of sleep. But just thank you to everyone who watched. And again, thank you so much for reaching out. It's really nice to be able to talk and just have a platform.
Yeah.
So.
Follow her on social media.
Thank you.
What is it? Is it the real Lindsey Bean now?
I tried to change it, yeah. So they're all consistent. So Instagram, Twitter, and then Facebook should just, and YouTube just Lindsey Bean. But yes, so
And I'm
if
Blinky
you type
500.
my name, you'll find it.
And
Oh, he's got his little business cards.
Oh, that's so cool.
it's probably reversed or flipped. I don't know if it's straightforward or not, but can you read this?
Yeah, I can. Yep.
Okay, good.
Awesome.
You have to read it backwards. You're extra talented. But yeah,
There we go. Find me.
Heck yes. Well, can I just say, as I said again, it was a pleasure having you guys on my show, and everyone definitely go support these truly incredible people. And yeah, thank you so much again, and bye for now.
I need a favor.
If it's about Shayna, you're on your own.
This is now the 5th shoot in the last 2 weeks.
Yep.
Shayna Ballard!
I cannot lose her.
There are still scumbags walking the streets, and if the Raven isn't gonna fight, then it's time for someone to take his place.